The morning sun spilled golden light through the blinds, illuminating the cluttered desk where Daniel Voss sat, scrolling through his latest article draft. His small apartment, nestled in a bustling corner of Archeon City, bore the marks of a life lived on deadlines. Stacks of papers, empty coffee mugs, and a corkboard pinned with clippings of past exposés. Today's piece, a scathing critique of the city's rising reliance on Halo, the all-seeing surveillance system, was due by noon. Daniel glanced at the framed photo on his desk. Lila, his younger sister, grinned back at him, her arm draped over his shoulder during a hiking trip from years ago. The photo was a rare reminder of their bond before her independent streak, and his overprotectiveness had created distance. Feeling the strain of hours at his desk, he got up to stretch and wandered over to the window. From his vantage point, Daniel could see how Archeon City hummed with life. Digital billboards flashed advertisements for everything from instant delivery services to Halo keeping you safe. Drones buzzed overhead, monitoring streets packed with pedestrians. Protesters gathered at the square, their chants echoing, "Privacy is freedom. Say no to Halo." Despite the protests, crime rates had plummeted since Halo's implementation. Advocates hailed it as a revolutionary crime deterrent, while critics warned of its Orwellian implications. Lost in thought about the stark contrast, Daniel's phone buzzed sharply, snapping him back to reality. He rubbed his temples as his phone buzzed. It was Lila. "Danny, you still holed up in that cave?" she teased, her voice playful but tinged with concern. "I'm working, Lila," he replied, his tone sharper than intended. "What do you want?" "Relax," she said. "I just wanted to check in. You've been glued to that Halo crusade for weeks. Thought you might need fresh air or food." "It's important," he snapped. "People need to know the cost of this thing." "And what about the benefits?" she countered. "Not everything is black and white, Danny. Some of us actually feel safer with it," he sighed. "I'm just saying, once we give up privacy, we don't get it back. And I'm saying maybe it's worth it to keep people safe," she said, her tone softening. "Anyway, I'll drop by later with some takeout. You can rant at me then." As Lila hung up, Daniel turned his attention back to his work. On one side of his board were profiles of key Halo advocates, including Captain Henry West, the head of law enforcement, who credited Halo with saving countless lives. On the other side were snapshots of protesters, including a photo of Elliot Cruz, a notorious hacker leading the anti-surveillance movement. Pinned in the center was a manifesto authored by Dr. Elena Voskov, a tech ethicist who argued for a middle ground, a regulated use of surveillance that respected individual rights. Her balanced stance had earned her criticism from both extremes. Hours later, Daniel was lost in edits when his phone buzzed again. It was a text from Lila. "Running late, don't wait up." He smiled, shaking his head. Typical Lila. The night deepened, and Daniel fell asleep at his desk. When he woke, the city's usual morning bustle seemed muted. He checked his phone, no updates from Lila. Concerned, he called her, but it went straight to voicemail. His unease grew as hours passed with no word. Finally, a notification flashed on his screen. Anonymous message received. Opening it, his blood ran cold. A grainy photo of Lila, bound and unconscious, filled the screen. Below it, a single line read, "Stop digging, Daniel, or she pays the price." The message marked a turning point. For Daniel, the fight against Halo was no longer an abstract battle over principles. It was personal. Clenching his fists, Daniel made a vow. He would find Lila, and he wouldn't stop until he uncovered the truth, no matter the cost.